Okay, so note down the problem statement. Design and develop dual regulated linear power supply. Design and develop dual regulated linear power supply for plus minus 12 volts volts and 1 ampere individual Noted?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So step by step, first of all, draw the complete circuit diagram. Whatever we discussed today morning only, during that session, I consider plus minus 5 volts, and that's why I selected that regulator IC at 7805 and 7905. So instead of that, now you have to take 7812 and 7912. Okay. Now consider input to regulators that is 7812 and 7912 is plus minus 15 volt 15. Consider input to regulators as plus minus 15 volt 15 unregulated, right? Whatever plus minus 15 volt we are considering, this is unregulated DC voltage coming from that bridge rectifier, not bridge rectifier, coming from the rectifier circuit. That rectifier circuit is full wave rectifier. It looks like a bridge, but it is not a bridge. Okay. Now for any one regulator to satisfy its input requirement, do the calculation and same will be applicable to the another only. Instead of positive, that will be for another one, it will be negative. That is for 7912, that calculation will be for minus 15 volts. Correct? So see, as the input voltage requirement, we consider it as plus minus 15 volts. That is nothing but average DC voltage of rectifier. And as per the derivation and the formula, average DC voltage or average load voltage of full wave rectifier, it is twice Vm by pi, right? So twice Vm by pi equals to 15 plus how much diode drop? Question mark. Complete it. Because practically we have to consider the voltage drop across diodes also. So we'll consider it over here, and practically, automatically there will be somewhat less output voltage, somewhat less means it will be less by 0.7, right? So that VLDC equals to twice Vm by pi equals to 15 plus diode drop, question mark. How much you will take? Point 7 or 1.4? Yes, it should be only 0.7 hours.
0.7, sir.
today morning only, I already explained in full wave rectifier, only one diode is in conduction. While in case of bridge rectifier, for each half cycle, two diodes are in conduction, right? So in this case, you have to consider that drop only adds 0.7 volts. So for calculation purpose, expected output voltage of that rectifier, it should be 15 plus 0.7. That means 15.7 volts. Correct. Therefore, Vm equals to, right, Vm by pi equals to 24.66. I don't know, you remaining people, just cross check it. Huh?
Yes,
Okay, so note down it.
25.66.
Vm equals to 24.66, no? Okay, 24.66. That is Vm. And therefore, what is the source of this Vm? That is transformer, right? So how much RMS voltage we should apply to that rectifier so that after rectification it will go on to give us that output voltage as 15.7 volt unregulated DC. So it's Vm you already determined. That is 24.66 and therefore VRMS equals to. Again I will repeat that formula. Remember that formula, note down it. VRMS equals to Vm by root 2 and therefore VRMS equals to 24.66 divided by root 2.
17.43.
Just a minute. 17.43 volt.
43.
Correct. VRMS equals to.
Yes, sir.
Is it okay? Remaining people?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So it is 17.43 volt, right? So see, whenever that half secondary voltage that is of 17.43 volt RMS will going on to rectify by using a rectifier circuit which we discussed today morning, it will going on to provide us the unregulated DC of 15 volts. Am I right? There will be a drop of 0.7 and that's why the actual obtained rectified DC voltage, it will be of 15 volts. Correct? Okay. Now see, the same voltage you will require, RMS voltage you will require to power that remaining half secondary so that it will going on to provide us after rectification, it will going on to provide us the output as minus 15 volts. And that negative 15 volts we will going to use as a input to our 7812. Correct? So the transformer selected, which transformer you will select?
1808. 018.
Yes, correct. So now therefore select transformer of 18018 volts, that is center tap transformer, and it will be mandatory because we are designing that dual regulated power supply, and that's why the transformer, as per our previous discussion, transformer it should be a center tap transformer, right? So it should be of 18018. Now immediately determine its current rating also. So that first of all we will finalize that transformer. See, for individual current rating, that means that plus 12 regulated DC power supply, it should be capable to provide the current as 1 ampere. Similarly, minus 12 volt regulated DC power supply, it should be capable to provide again 1 ampere current rating. Okay. So for that transformer, whatever current rating is given, that is not for half secondary. It is for complete secondary windings, and that's why first of all just determine for that half one, and we will go on to double it, and accordingly we will select that transformer or will purchase that transformer from the market, right? So maximum current rating, we consider that DC regulated power supply of plus minus 12 volt with 1 ampere individual, right? So that 1 ampere, again it is nothing but ILDC, right? So ILDC equals to maximum 1 ampere, and therefore again by using the formula ILDC equals to twice IM by pi, you will get the value of that IM. Calculate it.
Sir, can you repeat the formula?
Same formula, only instead of V, you have to write I. See, ILDC equals to twice IM by pi. For VLDC, what was the formula? VLDC equals to twice VM by pi. So the average load current of rectifier circuit, that is ILDC, is equals to IM by pi. ILDC already we define, it should be of 1 ampere, and therefore IM equals to
1.57.
1.57 ampere. Is it?
Yes.
Therefore, IRMS, because again the current rating of transformer, it is given in terms of RMS. Voltage rating is also given in terms of RMS. That means 18018 volt transformer, it is the RMS voltage rating of that selected transformer, remember. Okay. So this IM, which is of 1.57 ampere, its RMS value will be, again same formula, IRMS equals to IM by root 2, and that is equals to
1.11.
1.11.
1.11.
Yes, sir.
1.11 amperes RMS, right?
Right.
Now, which transformer you will select? Of what current rating? You have to double it. Remember, because whatever the current rating you determine, that is for separate DC source, and it is possible only by half secondary. Correct, na? And whatever that current rating is given by the manufacturer, this is for complete secondary. So it's double, that should be the current rating of your selected transformer. So note down, therefore select transformer of 3 ampere as a standard available. 3 ampere current rating. Our requirement is 2.22, right? But such type of transformer might not be available in the market easily. But at standard ampere current rating transformers are available, so you will get easily 18018 with 3 ampere. Is it okay? Therefore, your finally selected transformer is of 18018 with 3 ampere current rating. This transformer you have to purchase from the market. Okay. If you want to design and develop such type of regulated power supply, then only. Now, the next component, that is diode. So see, I just download one data sheet for that 1N400 series. So I will just show you. Is it visible?
No, sir.
No? So,
Yes, sir.
okay, is it there now?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. Visible.
Yes. So see, I just downloaded that 1N401 to 1N4007. That's general purpose rectifier diode series, right? Its features are given as low forward voltage drop. Generally, it is 0.5 to 0.7 volts. Practically, if we try to calculate it or determine it, then you will get that value at 0.5 to 0.7 and high surge current capability. Now, remember one more thing. What is meant by that surge current? Surge current means that current it remains very high momentarily. Okay. So that momentarily very high current, this forward current, this diode can sustain. These are the two features of this 1N200 series. Okay. Now you will observe, okay, see that first parameter given as peak repetitive reverse voltage. Is it visible to all? That first parameter for this diode, it is given as peak repetitive reverse voltage. This one, VRRM. Generally, we are calling it as a PIV, that is peak inverse voltage handling capacity. That is nothing but, already we discussed about the reverse characteristic of diode, and at knee voltage or at knee point, generally we are saying that avalanche breakdown occurs and that diode starts to conduct heavily, and due to that infinite amount of current through it, it gets damaged permanently, is it? So what is that knee voltage? Knee voltage is nothing but what? It's reverse breakover voltage. Up to that, generally we are saying that diode do not conduct. So it is a unidirectional device, correct now? So that knee voltage or reverse breakdown voltage is nothing but this one, peak repetitive reverse voltage. In this series, for first diode, that is 4001, you will observe that peak repetitive reverse voltage, it can sustain up to 50 volts. Beyond 50 volts, avalanche breakdown will going on to occur and this device will get damaged. This first diode. Are you getting it? Then second one, 1N4002, it can handle 100 volt as a reverse voltage. Then next one, 200, 400, 600, like this. And finally, we are taking this last one. 1N4007 having its peak repetitive reverse voltage handling capacity at 1000 volts. So this is nothing but the avalanche breakdown voltage of this 1N4007, which is a very, very large voltage. So generally that diode do not get conduct in reverse direction. Correct? So just imagine, even if we applied our 230 volt RMS directly across the rectifier circuit, which is formed by 1N4007. As we know, in any rectifier, when one or two diodes are in conduction, remaining one or two are remaining blocking state, correct? That is reverse bias condition. That means if 230 volt RMS is directly applied without any transformer or without any step down, how much maximum reverse voltage we will going to apply to that particular diode or diodes? If 230 volt RMS is directly applied, okay, we'll consider fully rectifier, simple fully rectifier using two diodes. So during one half cycle, one diode is in conduction, while the another it remains in reverse bias. And when negative cycle starts, that reverse bias diode becomes forward bias, and previously which was in forward bias becomes reverse bias, right? So just imagine if 230 volt AC voltage is directly applied across that full wave rectifier, how much maximum reverse voltage we are applying to it? Can anybody answer me? Are you getting my question? No one? Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you all are there, then why not responding me? Yes, no, something, something. See, if 230 volt RMS is directly applied as an AC input to the rectifier, full wave rectifier, my question is how much maximum reverse voltage we are applying to it? So simple, for 230 volt RMS, what is the peak voltage? 325.
325.
Yes, 325, correct. So that much reverse maximum voltage we will go on to apply to that rectifier, right? So see, whatever the diode are shown here, can you justify which diode or diodes will be applicable to rectify 230 volt RMS directly?
4004.
Yes, from 4004 onwards,
Yes.
because their reverse voltage handling capacity it is greater than that of whatever peak reverse voltage we will going to apply to them, right? If 4001 to 4003 are used, and if directly we try to rectify that AC voltage to DC, then the reverse peak voltage, that is 325, will go on to damage the first tree, right? Now, because their reverse voltage handling capacity is only 50, 100 and 200. And for remaining, it is greater than that of whatever we are considering across them, the reverse voltage across them, right? Now, the next parameter is average rectified forward current. This is nothing but maximum current handling capacity, maximum forward current handling capacity. It is of 1 ampere and it is common to all. So you will observe whatever diode we will going to use, that selection, it is dependent only and only on what? Their peak repetitive reverse voltage. Because for all, the current handling capacity is 10, that is 1 ampere. It do not differ according to that. That is for 4001, it is somewhat gas to 4007. It is not like that. It is common to this 1 ampere. Correct? Then this one, surge current. See, in this picture of that diode, it is mentioned as surge current capability. Already I mentioned what is meant by that surge current. Surge current is nothing but a momentarily forward current or maximum current. It can sustain up to 30 ampere. Okay? So for our selection, only these 2 to 3 parameters are to be considered. For that remaining, right? So can you justify out of all these 4001 to 4007, as already we define our transformer in terms of its voltage rating and current rating, which diode you will select? Can we select 4001 or shall we go for directly 4007? No one.
4001.
One. How it will be? Can you justify it?
Sir, we have taken the transformer 18018. So RMS value will be less than 50. So we will.
Okay, very good. See, as we have selected 18018 volt transformer, that is its RMS rating, right? For 18 volt RMS, how much will be the peak voltage? Again, same calculation. VRMS equals to Vm by root 2. Therefore, Vm, that is peak voltage, equals to 18 into root 2 equals to. Find out it. 18 into root 2, 18 into root 2.
25.45.
Okay, 25.45 volts. Right. So see, this much peak voltage, peak reverse voltage will be there, right? If the transformer is of 18018 volts. Are you agree with this? Without step down, if 230 volt RMS is directly rectified, then there is 325 volt peak reverse voltage. What we are doing? We are doing that, decreasing that AC voltage by using step down transformer from 230 volt RMS to 18 volt. By that 18 volt, how much will be the peak voltage, peak reverse voltage? It will be of 25.45 volts. So here we can use that further also, 1N4001, which can sustain reverse peak voltage of 50 volts as per the data sheet. No need to go for that 1N4007. It might be somewhat costlier as compared to that first one. So for cost effective solutions, you have to select that component like this manner. Are you getting it? Why? The remaining all parameters are common to all. See, you will observe. It is not given as per that number or number wise. Number wise, only one parameter is mentioned, and that is peak repetitive or voltage handling capacity. Yes or no? Can you observe my screen properly? Whatever I am showing, this data sheet, can you observe it
Yes.
properly?
Sir.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
here we will finalize. We are going to use 1N4001 diode because it will be going to sustain our peak reverse voltage also. Our peak reverse voltage will be going to exceed only up to 25.45 volts as per your calculation. And diode can handle up to 50. At 50, avalanche breakdown will be going to occur. At 50 or greater than 50, right? And we are applying less than that off. That's why diode will remain in third quadrant. That is its reverse characteristic. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if we implement that circuitry by using the same transformer and this diode, 1N4001 diode, then the obtained pulsating DC will have the peak value of how much? Without filter, you will get pulsating DC, correct now? So for that pulsating DC, how much will be its peak value? You already determine it. It will be
25.45.
approximately 25 volts, right? So the same things you have to observe.
Yes.
You have to observe by using our simulation software, step by step. Okay. How to use it? First of all, are you familiar with how to configure that transformer which is available in our library of this Fruity simulation software? Okay, I will just show you. Firstly, you all are already familiar how to use this simulation software. So I will just type in that keyword my first required component, and that is transformer. Okay. So see, so many transformers are available. First one, transformer with single primary and two insulated secondaries, means separate secondaries. Then next one is simple transformer. Generally, which we prefer it for our bridge rectifier. At right hand corner, you will observe symbol. Okay. Then next one is center tap transformer. See, and we require the same in this case. So I will just select that center tap transformer and we'll implement it over here. Correct? Visible to all? Now, as a input source, I will going to prefer AC source, just mention it as an alternator. Alternator is nothing but the AC voltage source. Remember this one. Okay. I connect it as an input to this transformer. That is across primary. Now, just erase the properties of that alternator. By default, its amplitude is given as 6 volts. Now remember, this alternator properties are its voltage, it is in terms of peak voltage only. Correct? So to say the 230 volt RMS, how much value it should get entered? It should be of 325. Correct? Now 230 volt RMS, its peak value is 325. By default, it is the frequency of that alternator is given as 1 Hertz, but we will require 50 Hertz. Are you getting it? Are there any problem? Amplitude of that alternator, it should be, or the value, voltage value, it should be in terms of its peak. Don't try 230 volt. 230 volt, that is our requirement, but as a RMS. And I say just OK. You can check whatever peak value I enter, is it OK or not. So what you will do, just connect one AC voltmeter across this alternator like this. That means voltage we are applying as a primary voltage and run it. See, so observe it, our AC voltmeter it measures RMS value. While how much we enter for this alternator, see it is written as 325 volts. Correct now? But voltmeter it reads it as what? 230 volts. That is RMS. Are you getting the difference between peak value and RMS value? Can you observe my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are you getting bored?
No.
No, na? Okay. You respond me fastly, huh? Now, what I will do, I will again just connect one AC voltmeter end to end to the secondary of that transformer. Expected output, see, it is somewhat greater than input. Or if you try to connect it to the center tab, then also we will check it is somewhat less, right? So by these major values, what will your conclusion for this transformer? End to end, there is step up in voltage level, right? But our requirement is only what I will do, just simply I will connect the AC voltmeter like this across half secondary. It should be of how much? 1.8. Correct now? To have the out of that one has 80 volts, what you will do? Here, simple calculation you can do it. See, primary voltage is 230, half secondary is 162. Right? And to have that secondary voltage as 18 volt or currently, so whenever you will just double it, you will get one factor here is most important, that is coupling factor. It will be written as 1. Right? we have to change this coupling factor. So instead of 1, if I applied it as 0.1, I will just take it. So 1, I change that coupling factor as 0.1. Now see what is happening. At half secondary voltage, 16.2 only. But the requirement is 80. So what I will do, I will increase this one from 0.12, for example, like if I applied it to 0.15, and I will check. Now it gets exceeded beyond our requirement. So it will be in between 0.1 to 0.15. Are you getting it? I will just try it for 3, 30. Again, even it. Still it is more than that of our requirement. So again I will change to 0.12. Still it is somewhat more. 0.11. Now it's okay. 17.9 means almost it is 18 volts. Are you getting it? So the coupling factor required to this transformer, it is of 0.11. By default it will be 1, remember. When you will change it, we will want to step down 230 volt to 18 volts. Right? And today at morning again, whatever I told, if I measure the voltage across this remaining half secondary, it should be again same. See, you will get the same answer, 17.9, that is 18 volts. And if you measure the voltage end to end by keeping that center tap as open, then it will be 36 volts. We'll check it. Okay. Are you getting it? 35.7, that means almost it is 36 volts. Are you getting how to configure that center tap transformer?
Yes,
Yes
sir.
or no? Okay. Now, once you will configure that transformer, step down transformer, now we need to keep the devices over the complexity of our circuit. That measuring is just report that, because we know now that transformer is configured to 18 volts, right? So diode. Again, in that keyword, as we finalize, we will going to use 1N4001 diode. This first one, select rectifier maximum recurrent peak reverse voltage 50 volt. It is mentioned in this library also. Correct? And maximum average forward rectified current is of 1 ampere. It is again taken from its data sheet. Whatever just we discussed. So now according to our need, we have to build that rectifier circuit. What I will do, I will just keep the diodes like this. This is my first node. Okay. Now this terminal it will go to load side. Right. And I will select again one more diode. We'll go on to place it like this. And now this terminal it should go towards the load. Just I will just select one resistor also as a load resistor. And in one more diode I will require. And that diode it should be like this. And this one it should get connected over here. This one over here. And again one more resistor I will place like this. And most important, that is ground time. Otherwise, this will not going on to work. We want to connect that ground like this. Is it okay? Are you getting it? What I done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I will just observe that output signal channel A has positive output and channel B has negative output. We will run it. Are you getting it? See what nature of output are you getting. Whatever the things today morning we discussed, is it okay? See that first channel it shows positive half cycles only, and channel B it shows negative half cycles only. Don't get confused. This is not a positive half, huh? This much part. Or if you are getting confused, just scroll it down. There will be one dotted line which acts as a reference line or x-axis. Correct? Are you getting it? Yes or
Yes, sir.
no? Okay. Now the next thing is,
Yes, sir.
next thing, we have to rectify it. Again, I will remove. Step by step, I will go on to check that circuit. Okay. For rectification purpose, I will prefer one electrolytic capacitor. You have to select radioelectrolytic from that subcategory of capacitor. Okay. And generally, it should be greater than 100 microfarad. So I select here 220, but the voltage rating again it should be sufficient. 100 micro and 100 volt. Suppose this capacitor I selected as a filter capacitor. Already today morning again, already I told out the polarity of that connected capacitor. For this upper one, it should be positive with respect to ground. And for this one, the capacitor, it should be like this. That means negative to this terminal and positive to the ground. See the difference between these capacitors connected across that RL. Okay. And then you have to use that 7812 12 volt 6 1 ampere current rating. Current rating of this 7812 it is 1 ampere, and just mount it like this. Already that VI, VO and ground pins are mentioned, so no need to worry it again. Now no need of this RL over here. Just connect that ground pin and keep that RL to the output of the regulator. It is sufficiently large as per calculation. So if it is 10K and we are applying that voltage as 12 volt, you can easily determine how much is the current flowing as IL in this case, correct? And similarly, what I will do, I will just connect another regulator, and that is 7912. So one thing you will observe whenever you will want to use these two regulators regarding their pin numbers. See, for 7912, number 2 is the input. For 7812, pin number 1 is the input. Correct? That is the basic difference of connecting these regulators actually. Otherwise, that regulator gets damaged. If that pins are not connected properly, immediately it gets damaged. Okay. Now I will check how much output voltage we are getting across this 7812 and across 7912 again. Just run it. See, are you getting it? Plus 12 and minus 12? Yes or no? Is it there?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
whatever the things we discussed from today morning, it gets justified, right? Now, in the practical, next part which you perform and upload to my Google Classroom is that find out percentage load and line regulation. What is that percentage line and load regulation? Already I explained during my previous lecture. I will suggest here for note down at your end for percentage load regulation, first column that is for IL, load current, and second column that is for load voltage, that is VO. Where is the load current from 0 to 25 milliampere? Take only 5 readings. 0, 5, 10, 15, 20 and 25 milliamps. I am note down the output voltage. Okay. How you will change the value of that IL? As per whatever I suggested as 5 milli, 10 milli, 15 milli, 20 milli and 25 milli. At 25 milliampere, consider it as a full load condition, and first one that is 0 milliampere, consider it as no load condition. And you have to determine the percentage load regulation also. Okay. So the question is how you can change the value of that IL and where you measure. What is IL? IL is nothing but that load current. So just remove this load, connect here DC current meter like this. That DC current meter should be in series with RL. Are you getting it? See, this current meter is connected in series with this 10K. Okay. One more thing, while using this current meter, you have to edit it like this. By default, it is ampere rating. But instead of that ampere, convert it to milliampere current rating current meter. So it will be in milliamps now. See, in this case, whenever that R1 is, that RL is of 10K, how much is the current flowing? It is of 1.20 milliamperes. Okay. So just do that calculation for current of your requirement, that is 5 milliampere. If the available voltage is 12, how much should be the value of RL? And simply edit this value. For example, instead of 10K, if it is of 1K, I don't know 5 milliampere, how much load resistance you will require. You will observe that current it goes to 2 milli if the resistance is of 1K. So simple. I equals to V by R. As I know that V is 12 volt divided by resistance, it is of 1K, so the current will be 12 milli. Correct? And you will observe one thing, that even if current changes, that load voltage, it is constant as a 12. Okay. So for 25 milliampere, almost we will require 500 ohm resistor. We'll check it. See, for 24 milliampere, the resistance required is 500 ohm, but you will observe, but still that voltage it remains constant. So if you tried it to calculate the percentage load regulation, you will get that answer ideally as a 0%. You have to try it and upload all these files to my Google Classroom. Prepare that table for variable values of IL, that is from 0 to 25. Take the 5 readings of equal step size, 0, then 5 milliampere, 10 milli, 15 milli, 20 milli, and last one 25 milli. And accordingly determine that percentage LR. If you are getting 0%, well and good. But if non-zero you are getting, then also it is acceptable. But that percentage LR, it should be closer to 0%. Okay. Now, similar for percentage line regulation. Already I explained what is meant by that percentage line regulation. What is that percentage line regulation? Delta VO by delta V in. Change in output voltage by change in supply voltage. Correct. So instead of 325, if there is a rise in supply voltage, for example, it goes to, I will take here 380 volts. Correct. RMS value, it also will get increased, right? So if connected AC voltmeter across this alternator, and if I run it, then you will observe it goes to 268 volt RMS. Now we'll observe what is the effect on output voltage. Is it getting affected? No, it remains 12. Yes or no? So again, for percentage line regulation, what you have to do, you have to take minimum voltage as 200 volt RMS, middle reading that should be for your regular, that is 230 volt RMS. So from 200 to 250, you have to change that input supply voltage, this alternator, and verify it by using AC voltmeter across alternator. That means your reading it should be like 200 volt input RMS, 220, 230, 240, and 250. And note down, is there any change on the output of this regulator or not? I think you will observe no change. That means again, percentage line regulation, it will be of 0%. Are you getting it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think you might have understood about the task which I given you. So you have to complete it today after evening and submit to my Google Classroom. Okay. Those who don't have PC or laptop, they have to prepare the paperwork, scan it and upload it. Is it clear?